he has been a phenomenon. Where does Johnny Sexton rank, and I don't expect you to give me chapter and verse on Jack Kyle, but of players you've seen, where does he rank Irish out-halves? And if he's number one there, where is he in the pantheon of the greatest Irish players we've seen?
Well, I think Irish out-halves, it's him and O'Gara. You know, they were the two greats. For me, Johnny is number one, considering the longevity that he has had, the importance that he still has with this team. From an Irish perspective, I think it's a toss-up between himself and Brian O'Driscoll. Right. I don't think it's as clear-cut as O'Driscoll 1 and Sexton 2. And that's saying something, because O'Driscoll had an enormous impact on Irish rugby.
Yeah, I never would have thought for a long time we'd be debating O'Driscoll versus anyone.
Yeah, and it's difficult because, you know, think about where Irish rugby was, you know, when Brian specifically came in, but Ronan was part of that as well. Like, you know, that was coming out of a horror time in the 1990s where, you know, Ireland were not far off a joke when it came to rugby, perennial wooden spooners. So they're sort of being able to stand out and develop during that period and bring, sort of, in many ways, bring Irish rugby on with you as well. It's kind of almost a unique achievement. But then you've got somebody who benefited from that and slotted in, like Sexton, and being such an incredible influence, you know, and this level of success. I think that's what differentiates him from, you know, any of his other peers. Wildly successful with Ireland, with Leinster, you know, with the Lions, you know, demanding of everyone. And yeah, he's super top table now. And I like having, normally you sort of think we're having these chats about Sexton. We're not going to have many more of these chats about Sexton, you know. Best case scenario, you know, we have a few more games this year. We've got a World Cup, and that is it. And we will miss this guy like you will not believe, because, you know, there is a lineup behind him. But the single biggest influence on Irish performances by a mile is Johnny Sexton.
And the interesting part was Sexton was finished in 2019, and he has rebuilt himself. He's reinvented himself. And some players, as they get older, you know, they diminish their way they play because their skills and their pace drops. Johnny has done the opposite. He's actually playing better rugby now than he was maybe 5 or 6 years ago. It was extraordinary.
And where is he in the pantheon of Irish grace? Because Horgan dodged that beautifully. Yeah. I thought it was impressive.
I think Brian is ahead. I think Brian's ahead. You know, as a singular talent, I think Brian is ahead. I think he is still.
But that's the reason why and I'm not being disrespectful, Joe. I don't like that question because, you know, I don't know who played in the 30s. I don't know who played before the First World War. I have met Jackie Kyle's, one of the greatest privileges of my rugby life, but I never saw Jackie play. But people tell me he was a genius. What we have to say is, in their generation, they are the best, and he is the best of his generation. Brian is the best Irish player I've seen, for sure. And again, because of what Shane said, Ireland followed Brian and grew up. Johnny is standing on the shoulders of those, like we all do. We stand on the shoulders of those who've gone before. Where Irish rugby is now because of the work done before him. But we can say Johnny is a world great of his generation, and we'll never see his likes again.
The fact that we can even have that conversation speaks volumes.
Yeah, but we're talking about him on the field as well. You know, we have to talk about his impact off the field. He is a cultural architect who has changed the mindset of so many players, so many squads. He's impacted coaches. You know, it's not just what he does on the field, it's the standards, the behaviours, everything that he drives from Monday to Friday, the 5 days before the game as well.
He said this week, no grudges towards Warren Gatland over the lines of mission.
Now, none of us want to say that a lovely guy like Johnny Sexton is telling a fib. But the competitor he is, Robbie.
The Johnny I know holds grudges. And not only does he hold them, he will hold them for possibly ever.
And pursue revenge on everyone.
But like all, you know, top players and players that are so competitive like that, he will, even when there's not a grudge, he'll make a grudge. You know, he'll use it. He'll use that, and he'll be, I can guarantee you, he'll be using it today.
Yeah, he creates a chip on his shoulder to drive him. That's where the burning desire comes from. And, you know, if Ireland win today, I wouldn't be surprised if he goes up to Gatland and does say thank you for not picking me. That's the sort of thing that he would do.